So the MG Cyberstar, now this is the first two-seat mass-produced convertible sports car with an electric drivetrain ever. And what a special car it is. We have this nice long nose, these kind of power bulges. There's no frunk, which is a little bit disappointing, but we'll get to the back soon. And this thing's actually got reasonable luggage space. Now up here on this model, and we're gonna get the one model in New Zealand at this stage, it's $129,000, and it is the all-wheel drive version. We get huge 20-inch wheels. Now you got these vents here. Now you might think those are cosmetic, they aren't. They do actually pass through, allowing for air to come out of the wheel arch, and there's actually some more vents through into the wheel arch from the front. We have wing mirrors, cameras here, and then we have these doors. Now these doors really are the car's party trick. We push a button here and they pop up. You've got a sensor there that stops the door from hitting other objects in car parks. So combined with another sensor up here, this car is actually one of the few sports cars that when you go to the mall and you're parked up against someone else, it's going to be really easy to get in and out. You've got big roll hoops here. Now you've got the roof. We'll show how that works in a minute. And then we come round to the back. It's got this big, long, almost speedster, ducktail style rear to it with Cyberster badging. You've got these tail lights, now these big red arrows, and down at the rear, this big black diffuser. Now, if we come over here, push this black button here, that opens the boot, and it's a serious size boot. Now, it's 250 litres, which is kind of the same as most smaller hatchbacks, but they've done an amazing job of designing it. So it's this big long rectangle that I reckon you put two reasonable sized suitcases in. And then around the side here, if we come right around the vehicle, we have the charging port. Now CCS Type 2, fairly decent charging, 11 kilowatt AC and I think 144 kilowatt DC. Now that's feeding into a 77 kilowatt NMC battery for range of 440 something on WLTP. I think probably 380 to 400 in the real world. Right, let's go check out the interior. Now this is one thing I've learned already. These sensors here, if they sense something's there, they're not going to open. It's a little bit, takes a little bit to get used to, but keep your hand away from the sensor and you're all good. You're probably thankful for that because it'll stop it smashing into things. Now getting in. Now everyone knows I am a big chap. This car, even with the roof on, I have found really easy to get in and out of. I've spent some time in a American sports car of similar size recently, and I found that a little bit problematic getting in and out of, but this thing, not a problem at all. Now, to close the door, you've got buttons down here, you put that down. Similarly, if you want the door to go up, you lift that up. All very simple. Now, to adjust the seat itself, you've got controls on the door, like a Mercedes. Memory functions, it's going to try and put me forward a little bit there now. Good comfy seats, Alcantara synthetic leather bolsters. They are comfortable. I wouldn't necessarily say they're going to be overly supportive through the corners, but I think as we'll get to, it's probably not so much of an issue for this vehicle. You've got a big grab handle here, again with the Alcantara. You've got your roof controls, you've got cup holders here, including the ability to change the depth of them. And you've got a cell phone holder here that actually works really well. It's not wireless charging or anything, but it does the important job of actually keeping your cell phone in one place. Now we have a center console here with the USB and a little bit of storage behind the seats here. Nothing dramatic, but enough for maybe one or two little smaller bags. Now, control-wise, you have a lot of screens. Over here you have a screen which covers off some of your trip computer functions, weirdly things like weather when it's connected to things, charging, all those kind of stuff, and the reversing camera is there as well, which you can have between a narrow and a wide mode. You've got your main screen up here, which has your speed, your trip computer functions as well, the various power modes that you're in, and we'll go into that later. All the kind of important stuff you're going to want when you are driving. Now, annoyingly, what does pop up on there is that there's a driver attention monitor there. I hate those. I hate those. Take it away, MG, please. I know you can't, but still. And over here we have another screen for your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and then navigation, all the usual functions you'd expect there. Over here we have another screen, which is a lot of the vehicle things, a lot of the driver assistance functions, your door systems, your vehicle status, all those kind of stuff, all those kind of things there. Your transmission function here, again, very much like a certain American sports car. I feel like just a dial or the buttons would have been better. What they've got here is okay and works fine, but I personally think we could have done it without it. Now, if we lean over the passenger side, we have a glove box, nice big glove box. And I should note when I'm over here that there's actually a little bit of storage in the doors. It's tiny, it's not going to take much at all, but they've been smart and put a lid on it. So when you do open the doors, it's not all going to find it fall out. Right, shall we now see how the roof operates? Now you do it from the inside. It's this little lever here, and there's no real faffing about, no latches or anything to unhook. You just basically push the lever and up it goes. Now it can operate on the move. I understand up to about 40 kilometers an hour. Perfect for around town. Now let's take it for a drive. So what is the MG Cyberstar like to drive? Well, absolutely stonking, but a little bit different to what I might have expected. So this car is blazingly quick, and we know from the numbers, 375 kilowatts of power, 750 newton meters of torque. Now to get that, you've got to push the big red Super Sport button down there. But once you've done that, you've got access to all that power, and it really is brutal. It almost feels to me at times like this car's got so much power, it's kind of getting away from underneath you. But it's not a crisp sports car in the way that some people might expect. It's more of a Grand Tourer, just a little bit soft, a little bit comfortable, and actually really refined. Now, some of that comes from the fact that it's electric, so you've not got a lot of noise, but they really have done a good job at getting the ride and the comfort in this car set up really well, which means that unlike a lot of sports cars like this, if you wanted to jump into this car and do a 500, 600K day trip, of course, with a charging stop in between, then you're going to be able to, and you're going to get there in pretty good condition. So for a big guy like me, the driving position is actually really good and really comfortable. I would maybe like a little bit more space away from the steering wheel, but it's not dramatic. You do have your various buttons here for setting the steering, setting the sports modes, those kind of things. You've got paddles for the regeneration here, which are nice and easy to hand. So you've got 3 stages of regen or auto regen, or you can have a 1 pedal drive mode, which is nice and handy to have, particularly for when you're around town. Now the brakes, MG has actually done a pretty good job at tuning these, those Brembo units for really good stopping feel despite the weight. You know, this thing is not that far off 2 tons in all-wheel drive form, so quite a bit of heft to stop. It does a really good job of hauling them up, and they don't feel wooden. They haven't got that regen mix issue that some vehicles have. They have kind of set this up to be something that, yeah, you can live with on a day-to-day basis. There's a big boot. There's the roof mechanism is really quick. The doors are really functional and actually surprisingly good to use in tight spaces. So while a lot of these kind of cars are bought for the weekend, this really is one that can be used 7 days a week. So the MG Cyberstar, I really like this vehicle. For a brand that, well, it's, you know, historically very old, but is relatively new, this is a really mature and complex car. And dare I say it, at $129,000, this actually offers good value. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget, for more, like and subscribe below, and we'll see you with more great content fairly soon.